can't we realise that it's sacrilege even to put a panel saw by a trained craftsman, cabinet maker, anyone else, into the woodwork of which those instruments are actually made. It's a special timber imported from a particular country, out of a particular forest, from a particular tree. Various family pipes, as us individuals call them, carry unique patterns designed often by the man's feeling who built them, knowing full well that he would never, never be able to play one, own one, or possibly go near one. Isn't it something complete in its entirety for us to look after? Shouldn't they be treasured? There's a smell come from it as you interfere with or take to pieces that makes you say, God, I'm almost on sacred ground.
In the earlier days, I had some terrible letters from various people. Did I mention about the one from a parson? I had no idea of fan mail in those days. The very first postcard I got, I said to my wife, I said, who's this? I don't know this fellow. I was astounded, but people went to the trouble of writing. But after a little while, a postcard arrived from a vicar somewhere. I forget now exactly where it was. And it was written on a postcard too, which I thought was rather unkind. And it said, we would appreciate your talent more if you played the organ as it should be played, i.e. long sustained chords. Now, I wouldn't have stayed very long at Blackpool if I'd played long sustained chords. Not for me to reason why, is it? If they decide they don't want me to broadcast, well, there's nothing I can do about it, is it? For 18 years, I did a broadcast on one morning at 10 o'clock on a morning, and they were just dropped like that, completely. And now we have the disc jockeys, don't we? Yes.
Cinema organs, or theatre organs as they're sometimes called, are nearly always referred to as Wurlitzers. the Mighty Wurlitzer, no matter who actually made them, because Wurlitzer was the original. But of course there are English firms that have made them, and indeed Dutch firms. The Compton Company in England, Hill, Norman and Beard made them under the name of Christie. But the genuine Wurlitzer organ was made in America and imported. It was in fact invented by an Englishman, a man called Robert Hope Jones, who lived at Birkenhead. He made church organs, but he had one or two revolutionary ideas which didn't go down very well with the church organ builders in this country. So he fled to America, as it were, and he teamed up with the Wurlitzer people who were making Nickelodeons and fair organs, that sort of thing. So Mr. Hope Jones sold all his patents through the Wurlitzer people. This particular instrument, it's quite an old one, an early one, what we refer to as vintage. And the characteristic vintage sound of a Wurlitzer, these lovely, beautiful tibia pipes, and the vox humana, which means human voice, but whether it sounds like a human is up to you to decide. But this is the sound you expect from one of these. And of course it has all the usual effects. The cathedral chime, the xylophone. Everybody thinks you're very clever because it repeats itself, but all you have to do is hold a note and it does it for you. But the glockenspiel, and one or two drums which we can play with our feet. The bass drum, the crash cymbal, even the sound of steam. Of course, the important thing to realize is that these extras are just gimmicks. The theatre organ was built for entertainment. Its use in the cinema, if anything, made it seem less of an instrument than it really was.
The Mighty Wurlitzer will return on the Discovery Channel.
This portion of the Discovery Channel is sponsored in part by Just for Men hair coloring.
To get rid of her gray, my wife can spend 40 minutes. But I discovered the 5-minute hair coloring.
The revolutionary discovery called Just for Men from the leader in men's hair coloring. Simply apply Just for Men and in 5 minutes shampoo out.
Gray is blended away. The look of my natural color is back in 5 minutes. That was me, and it won't fade or wash out.
My hair takes forever, but you look great in just 5 minutes.
The look of your natural color in just 5 minutes with Just for Men.
Nighttime backache? Try Momentum Muscular Backache Formula. Momentum has extra medicine to help relieve your backaches so you can sleep.
My back feels great, and I slept like a log.
Momentum Muscular Backache Formula.
The most entertaining and exciting American movie of the year is Bugsy, says New York Magazine.
Did you think you could steal from me?
Beatty and Benning tear up the screen. Bugsy, rated R, now playing at a theater near you.
Presenting Tulip.
Mommy, can we paint a bright running star?
Well, sure, honey, it's easy.
With Tulip at your fingertips, there's nothing you can't do.
Tulip is the paint uniquely formulated for decorating fabric.
Try the glitter.
This is fun.
Trust Tulip Color Fast paints to create designs that last and last.
Look, Mommy, I'm a star.
We all are.
There's nothing you can't do.
Monday nights on the Discovery Channel, a portrait of our living planet, caught on film by the best in nature and wildlife cinematographers. Come celebrate a closer look at the world we live in as The Natural World unfolds Monday nights at 8 Eastern. Then, stay tuned for the Discovery Channel at its finest, a weekly showcase of our most intriguing, best-loved, and critically acclaimed programs. Monday nights at 9 Eastern, only on Discovery Showcase. Then at 10, host Nancy Glass takes you to exotic destinations around the globe. Journey from the alpine wonders of the Swiss Alps to the lights, camera, and action-packed streets of Hollywood. Discover the people and explore the faraway wonders of a world away. Monday nights beginning at 8 Eastern, only on the Discovery Channel.
We now return to the Mighty Wurlitzer on the Discovery Channel.
Of course, the sad thing is that musical purists always referred, and still do, to these instruments as machines that bleated like nanny goats, and that came about because of the vibrato or the tremulant. You know, a church organ, if I demonstrate, makes a very straight noise like this. And a device called a tremulant, which is a kind of rapidly vibrating bellows, there are two of them on this organ, changes it to this. Gives it a vibrato, and that is what the church organs disliked. Nonetheless, what those church organists didn't realise was that the best theatre organs, wherever they've now finished up, are capable of a sound every bit as magnificent as the very best church organ. In fact, the theatre organ works in principle exactly the same as a church organ, only it's just a bit more versatile and complicated. You have 2, 3, 4, or sometimes 5 keyboards or manuals, surrounding which you have a variety of stop keys which connect these manuals, as it were, with the pipes. By depressing any of these keys, you can connect any of the manuals with more or less any set of pipes by means of a huge series of electric relays. It's really like a mini computer. The pipes are housed in what's called an organ chamber. Sometimes there are 2 or 3, and one of the most magnificent has been newly restored in the Free Trade Hall in Manchester.
Well, in this particular chamber there are 670 pipes. In the main chamber next to it there are 730 pipes, making a total of 1,400 pipes. Some pipes are metal and some pipes are wood. And of course, the shorter the pipe, the higher the pitch of the sound produced. The biggest pipe in the organ is in the other chamber. That's a wooden 16-foot pipe. And we also have a 16-foot metal pipe as well, folded to get him to fit in on the shelf. Supposing the organist had selected a trumpet pipe to speak, and he chose this particular note, what would happen? Wind would be released into the bottom of the pipe here, called a boot, and then it would impinge on this tongue called a reed here, which vibrates. This tube is hollow, and the air then escapes up this resonator to make the sound of the pipe. And also, I've estimated that in the organ as a whole, there's about 152 miles, I think, of single-core copper wire, like telephone wire. Little silver wires by the 1,000, magnets by the 1,000, and little leather motors by the 1,000. Everything in the organ, you know, you talk about thousands.
At one time, in the 30s, there was getting on for 1,000 instruments like this in England alone. Now, there are probably no more than 50. After the war, thanks to the foolishness of certain cinema and theatre owners, most of these organs were just torn out and thrown away. However, a few were saved. Curiously, the people who bought these things, more often than not, were not players. I don't really know the reason for this, but you've got the case of the two brothers Kitchen at this. They built an entire garage showroom to house their newly acquired Wurlitzer organ. Again, neither of the brothers can play it, so a local school teacher comes in. Now, he's teaching the garage owner's daughters.
The Mighty Wurlitzer will return.
This console originally came from
Ashton-under-Lyne.
Yeah. The pipework is
Regal Chesterfield, Plaza Birkenhead, and ABC Ashton.
The church that we belong to, the organ came, well, not for sale, but it closed, and so we had to rescue it. So it was a case of where shall we put it? We looked in the estate agent's window and said, this looks interesting. Straight away we thought, oh, this is it, you know, it's just what we need. So,
that was it.
We negotiated and that was it, and the price was just incredible.
And the people moved out the front door and the organ moved in the back door.
They were moving their furniture out at the front as we were. Of course, the pipes came in first, you see. That's
obviously being the most important item of furniture.
Well, we had none at the time.
Well, that explains a lot, doesn't it?
So, the house is well suited for an organ, and of course, first of all, we put it upstairs.
Which is a
loft type.
Not a loft exactly, is it?
No, it's a room, really, but when we put it up there, it was too hot in the summer and the pipes just started to disintegrate, folding over. So we brought it down and decided, well, 2 bedrooms aren't being used, we'll use those. This part is the kitchen, which half the organ sticks into.
Of course, we had to knock the wall out there.
We didn't take the carpet up to do it.
And we didn't even take the carpet up, so it was a good job. Shall we say there's no women here?
And Nigel enjoys the fact that it's just at the kitchen because we can pass him cups of tea.
Oh, yes, and eat your tea with one hand and play with the other.
It's not usually cups of tea, really, though, is it?
Well, we won't go into that just
And then we come to the bedroom, the loo.
The bathroom.
And finally, we get down to
the pipe room.
Pipe room, where all the pipes are stored, and blast all the neighbours out, of course.
But they don't complain.
No complaints.
In fact, they have been known to stand in the garden, haven't they?
They do.
When
Nigel comes to play, usually
bring the deck chairs up.
Yes, they come and pretend to be gardening.
And in here is the relays, which is the electrics, really. If we were married, no housewife would stand for this. So, if we ever leave the place, the console goes with us, and that's why the door's not being repaired.
I always say hello to it.
Derek talks to the pipes.
I have a few words with them occasionally, you know, and they want them to behave properly.
Upstairs, in the attic, or tip, as it's known.
If you treat it with respect, it will respond to you. You know, if you ill-treat it, then it plays up.
As you can see, the place is loaded with pipes, xylophones,
bits and bats.
Bits and bats.
And that's rather an interesting little item there. That's the remains of a cymbal crash, a Compton cymbal crash.
And, of course, the tremulance took the roof down.
The vibration you can feel all over the house, you know, from the tremulance, there's 4. And, of course, it does bring the slates loose.
And
you'll hear in the night some bump onto the floor, you know, the slates slip down. This is my bedroom, and, of course, these came from a church organ, which we haven't got room upstairs, so I had to put them in here. They're all perfectly good. And then I've got some in here. Pipes everywhere here. I do like to keep a few little gems handy, you know. There's quite a few little bits and bats in here. Oh, yeah. But, they're all perfectly good and they're all kept and they do no harm, so that's that. So I think that's all I can tell you.
We owe it to those old boys who did all that work of dedication, left us such a marvellous instrument. We owe it to them to go on from here, those of us who can. There's none of these things that you can bring back after they're gone. They are part of our heritage. There is no replacement. We live in a almost day and age due to civilization and modernization where it's almost a plastic world. Again, we can't live without that. But there's nothing plastic or synthetic about that organ. Nothing at all. Each part of it is the result of individual craftsmanship. Let's put it in simple terms. Those things were made to last forever. They need our best.